Well, welcome everybody to our happy hour. I hope you have whatever beverage of choice you have chosen for the night to just wind down with and hang with. My name is Brittany, and I'm going to kick off this call. There's going to be a bunch of different coaches you're going to hear from tonight with incredible stories that are not one size fits all. And that's one of my favorite parts of this business and of this team is that it's not one size fits all. And it's also it's truly for everyone, right? There's an opportunity for everyone, however you want to take it. So I hope our stories tonight inspire you in some way. That is the name of our team, Inspire Beauty, and it stemmed from that purpose, that we really, truly believe that it starts with us. And if we go out into the world and take time to inspire someone else to take care of themselves, that ripple effect is just massive. It's so massive. Before we kick off, I wanted to give you a little Zoom etiquette. I know we've all probably been on Zooms more in the last year than we've truly ever wanted to be. But if you haven't spent a lot of time on Zoom or you're newer to our Zooms, I love seeing your faces. If it's possible tonight for me to be able to see your face, I'm an elementary school teacher by heart, and I just thrive off of that interaction, the face-to-face. So if we can, I'd love to see it. Don't be shy. And also in the chat, I'm going to point you to some features really quick because we'll be using them tonight. At the bottom, if you're on your laptop, tablet, whatever, at the bottom of your screen, if you scroll down, you'll see a bar that has a mute and a stop video at the far left, or start video. That's where you'll turn your video on and off for us. And please, I have everybody muted, but just in case something happens and you accidentally touch it, go ahead and find that mute button to the left. Make sure you stay muted just so that in case there's background noises and things like that, we're not catching that feedback. You'll notice in the middle, there's a chat button. So go ahead right now and open that chat button up so that you have the chat open on your screen so that you can actively participate with us throughout the night. The first thing I'm going to ask you to tell us in the chat is, where are you joining us from? Where are you from? I am joining you guys from Dallas, Texas. My husband and I, we moved here about a year and some change ago, about a year and a half ago now. We were in California, in the Bay Area. I've lived in Miami, Florida, where I was a school teacher for 10 years, born and raised in the Midwest in Michigan. And so so everyone around here who's dropping where you're from, I feel like I've graced your presence at some point in my life because I've been all around. But I'm going to kick off, you guys, my story, and then I'm going to pass the mic around. And it's super chill. This night is about inspiring you and seeing how you potentially fit into our family in some way, shape, or form. So, like I said, I was a school teacher for 10 years. And during that time, I taught elementary school in Miami, Florida. And during that time, man, teachers, y'all are amazing. You are like, there's a special place in heaven for every teacher out there. Teaching is a beautiful trade, and it's something that I was gifted. I always wanted to be a teacher. Growing up, my mom, my dad, both educators, and so it was just ingrained in me that that was the path that I was going to take, and so I did. And I got in the classroom, and I started to really get worn down by the system of things, about, the loss of creative expression really in my profession. And never, for my 10 years at least in Miami, I never once got a raise. They froze all pay raises. And so when I came in as a day one teacher right out of college, I got paid the same 10 years later as I did on day one. And that was frustrating. It was really, really frustrating. And I remember looking around my classroom and just thinking to myself at the end of really long, tiring days where you just poured everything you could into all those babies of yours, right? That I just looked around wondering if this was it. And I had this elephant on my chest that I just felt like I was made for more than the life that I was currently living. And I felt there were other aspects of my life that I felt like I wasn't really leveling up in, and I was just playing it safe, or maybe even playing it not so safe in. And I knew I wasn't taking care of myself. And I had purchased, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of this workout program. It launched maybe 10 years ago now, called Insanity. And it was all the craze. Yes. Was anybody insane enough to do Insanity? Anybody watching? Yeah. Y'all are crazy. But that was the workout program that I saw a good friend of mine get like ridiculous results with. And I knew nothing about Beachbody. I knew nothing about, what we're doing right now or coaching or anything like that. I just knew that my friend pressed play on this workout DVD set and she got really kick butt results and some killer abs. That's really what I was like, whoa, I need those. And so I bought Insanity. I bought it on Amazon. By the way, disclaimer, like, don't ever buy Beachbody products on Amazon because then no one gets like, you don't get connected to a coach or a community. But I bought it on Amazon and I did what everybody does when they buy a program on Amazon or a new workout program off the internet on or infomercial at 3 a.m. is you put it on your shelf and you let it collect dust. And that's what it did for me. It collected dust until one summer, I don't know, by the grace of God, I decided, you know what, this is the summer, my summer break, that I was going to commit to Insanity and I was going to press play and I was going to do that program from start to finish. And I did. And just like when you buy a new car and you're looking around and all of a sudden everyone has the same car you're driving, I started to notice people who were also doing Insanity. And one of them happened to be a good friend of mine who I met right after college. We both worked in customer service at Lowe's. And so I watched her. I watched her lose her postpartum baby weight with that after baby number one. And I was just so impressed with her journey. And she had no idea I was watching her because at the time, you guys, I did not want to be present on social media. As a teacher, I was very private. I had private accounts. I never wanted somebody to tag me in my location. I didn't want my students to ever find out where I was or what I was doing or what I looked like after hours. And so I definitely was private on social media and I rarely posted, but I did stalk people. And so I stalked her for a long time and she was kind of like my accountability buddy during that season. And again, like I said, I was going through a really rough patch where I just felt like this elephant on my chest, like this can't be it, Brittany. Like there's so much more and you're just not giving it your all. And also I was broke as a stinking joke. Like I just couldn't make ends meet. I couldn't pay the bills. And so I saw my friend one day post this video on Facebook talking about this coaching opportunity. And I was scrolling social media after getting home from work one day and just reached out to her and said, okay, tell me more. What is this thing you're doing? And the rest really is history, except it's not. 7 years later, and it's just been a lot of hard work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but so rewarding and so fulfilling. And I'm still teaching, just in a different capacity today. I am now a full-time Beachbody coach. I retired myself from the classroom. I make more money now as a Beachbody coach than I did when I was in the classroom. So I finally gave myself that raise that I never did get. I gave it to myself. And my husband and I, we were able to build this house for ourselves from the ground up here in Dallas, Texas, and just really start living a life by our own design and truly craft the things that we wanted versus hope that somebody else would give us that permission, right? And so that's a little bit about my story and how I got started. But my story is grand. There's a lot of people who don't necessarily come into this and want to leave their full-time job or want to out earn their current number that they have or whatever that looks like for you. And so I just want you to know that my story can offer you some deep hope if you are in a season right now where you're like, man, there's got to be something else out there and you want to stretch yourself. It's possible. I hope that you hear that tonight. But I want to pass the mic over to another fellow teacher on our team. Her name is Annie, and she is going to tell you all about her journey here with Beachbody.
Awesome. Thanks, Britt. Hey guys, thanks so much for hopping on and spending your Wednesday evening with us. Cheers. Cheers, everybody. Just a little bit about me. I am a fifth grade teacher full-time. This is my third year teaching fifth grade. I am a wife of a little over a year, and I am a dog mom to the most insane year-old husky you will ever see in your life. But let me tell you a little bit about my story and just like how and why I fit coaching into my career as a teacher. So rewind to college. I hated exercise. You could not pay me to work out. If someone said work out, I would say, no, sorry, I don't. And we had this awesome gym on campus that was like brand new, recently rebuilt. I had free access to all of it. I would go once or twice a week. I decided I was going to try to be healthy in college. Haha. And I would go and I would go straight to the elliptical and I would hop on the elliptical for 20 to 25 minutes. I would hop off, wipe it down, and leave. And the elliptical was my version of working out. It was all I ever did. Any other elliptical or treadmill, like only because that was me. I was terrified of doing anything else because there were like football players watching and like all these classmen, like all these college kids watching me, and I was going to make a fool of myself and probably hurt myself if I tried something else. So that lasted for a little bit, and then I just like got busy with classes and extracurriculars and didn't like it, so I didn't go do it. Fast forward to like middle of college, end of sophomore year, I ended up in a big wave of depression and anxiety. We kind of determined that I had been experiencing it my whole life, but this was like the breaking point. So I started seeing a counselor and I started going on medication for anxiety and depression. And every week that I talked to my counselor, she told me, Annie, if you get your heart rate up for 15 minutes a day and you alter your diet, you will see a difference. And I said, nope. And I blew her off for a long time. Like I would say, oh yeah, I went for a walk the other day down the road, but my heart rate stayed at resting pace because I didn't want to exercise. So that went on for a while, and literally every session she said, you should really get your heart rate up. And literally years passed, probably a year and a half to 2 years. And I was scrolling through Instagram one day. I was student teaching at the time. So I was a full-time grad student and student teaching, living with my parents. Like I'd moved back into my parents during grad school. And I was scrolling through Instagram after school one day, and I saw my friend's post that had a before and after picture, 21 days apart. She had lost 8 pounds. She looked awesome. She looked healthy. But the thing that super duper got me was her smile. Like the before picture and the after picture, her smile was 10 times bigger and brighter in the after picture. And immediately I thought, that's what I need, not just a change in my body, but I need whatever's bringing her that joy. So I messaged her right away and I said, hey, whatever you're doing, I'm going to do, tell me how to do it. And she signed me up that night. And I was like, okay, let's do this. I'm going to look like she does, and I'm going to lose 8 pounds in 21 days. And I'm going to be that happy. And I learned what I had to do, and I was not willing to do it. I tried this program called 21 Day Fix that she had done. And I was like, oh yeah, these workouts are okay. I got like my 5-pound weights. I'm digging it, but was not willing to give up my salty foods. If you're a salty tooth instead of a sweet tooth like me, you know what I'm talking about. I needed my French fries, I needed my chips, and I needed a lot of them. So I wasn't willing to do all the things. And I was constantly told over and over again, coaches get the best results. Coaches get the best results. And I was like, okay, but I'm like doing the things. I'm kind of doing the things and I'm not seeing any results. So I was like, okay, I'll coach. I want results. I'll coach. And so I signed up, or I transferred my account to a coach account, and started a program that was brand new called Transform 20 with Shaun T. If you know who Shaun T is, he's a beast. And I fell in love with him. I loved his workouts, 20 minutes a day, 6 weeks. I dove in. I did not dive into nutrition. I didn't do anything to my diet, but I was like, okay, 20 minutes a day, I can do it. Let's do it. I did it. I lost 9 pounds without touching my food. And I was like, okay, I can get results, which means other people can get results, and let's do this. But I realized I still I didn't have that big smile that my friend had in her after photo. So I started to realize it was the community. I was in this Beachbody community and I really thought that that was the community that was going to like click for me and just be what I needed. And it ended up not being what I needed in that season. So I took the initiative to search for a community that was what I needed. So I was already doing Beachbody, but I wasn't meshing with the people that I was doing it with. So one of my friends from college was on Inspire Beauty. And so I was seeing her on Instagram rocking her business. She was a full-time teacher at the time as well. So I saw that she could do both. I was watching her raving about her community, and I was watching her continuing to get results with every program that she did, despite like this huge weight loss at the beginning. And then she was still getting results, toning, all the things that I didn't know you could do. So I messaged her and I said, hey, I'm already doing Beachbody. I know about Beachbody, but I'm not really sure what coaching looks like. And I want to be with you. I want to be doing this with you. So I switched over to Inspire Beauty, and it was one of the best decisions I have ever made. And I learned what coaching really was. I learned how coaches really do get the best results. And I'm not just talking about physical results. Once I dove into the coaching community, I figured out why I was even here. I was challenged to think about why I was even here, not just looking at the scale, not just looking at the inches on my body, but why was this important to me? Why was I still doing this when I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted? But most importantly, I learned that these women were focused on relationships and not on sales. I knew as a coach, I would sell things. And that was part of being a coach, but that was not the reason these women were coaches. And I firmly believe that relationships are what I was created to do on this earth. And so that got me, that it was about helping women change lives and creating relationships instead of just selling products. I also saw all of these current and former teachers that were making it work. Like they were passionate about building this business and building this community, and they were doing all the same things I was outside of Beachbody, and they were doing both. So I started to finally look at them and say, okay, if she can do it, why can't I? Because she's doing the exact same things outside of Beachbody, and I'm making all these excuses of why I can't do both, but she's doing it, so I can too. And that was a big transition because right after that, COVID hit. And teaching, nobody knew how teachers were supposed to teach because half my kids had internet, the other half did not. And so there wasn't a lot of teaching to do. So I dove all into coaching because I needed something to do. I spent like the first week of like the shutdown on the couch watching Netflix. And then I was like, okay, I have to do something else. Like this is clearly not going away. I have to find something to do. So I dove all in. I was on every call. I was working out every single morning with the virtual gym. I was reading personal development. I was in it. And I saw results. I saw physical results from the consistency of working out and making my own meals. And I also saw results in my business of earning some extra income and also building a community of women that I wanted to be around. So during COVID, I was creating these habits and routines that were a non-negotiable at this point. Since I was doing it every day, it became a routine and it became something that I couldn't live without, like brushing my teeth in the morning. So when school came around again and there were all these unknowns in the fall and we were going from virtual to hybrid to in-person back to virtual, that stayed consistent. My routine stayed in place. I learned how to wake up early instead of rolling out of bed and walking into my classroom cranky, which my kids don't deserve. I learned how to take that time in the morning for myself, take care of me so that my kids get the teacher that they deserve. And is my business growing like it was during COVID when I had 8 hours a day to devote to it? No, but because it grew in importance to me, I I made it a point when I'm back to work full time to split my passion. And I think if you get nothing else from my story, get this. I think we get in this place, especially if we have like a master's degree in a career, that has to be our passion. And that's what all our energy goes towards. And that's not true. I have a master's degree and I'm passionate about fifth graders, but I'm also super passionate about helping women change their lives and become healthier and live healthy lifestyles and be better moms and sisters and wives and friends. But I can do both at the same time. So don't let your other passions and your other commitments stop you from doing this if this is something that is burning a fire in you. Because if you really want it and you are really into this community and you really want to help people, there's time for both if you make it. That's my story, and that has led me to where I am now, being just on fire for changing lives and getting healthy, which I honestly never thought I would do. But I want to pass the baton to my girl, Ashley, who is another boss babe, who is a literal hero. Just wait till you hear her story. I look up to Ashley a lot, and I'm really excited for you guys to get to hear from her and learn from her. So Ashley, take it away.
Well, thanks for that intro, Annie. You're so sweet. Hi, everybody. As she said, I'm Ashley. I'm so pumped that you guys are here with us tonight. And I am just going to dive in, tell you a little bit about my story, how I ended up here. And I think one of the cool things is, you guys, that everyone has like such different stories, but I think you'll find like the commonality is that this community is literally like the glue that holds us together. And so I'm just super excited to share this with you guys. So my journey, I guess, really has been something that has been lifelong for me. My weight is always something that I have struggled with. And, you know, for majority of my life, I guess you would say, is when I basically, let me back up here, I'm getting ahead of myself. So when I was in sixth grade, that's really when it became apparent to me. I was like 12 or 13 years old. And that's really when I noticed that I was just a little bit different in my build, and that's really when I became like super uncomfortable in my skin. That's what I can trace it back to. And you know, you're just at that age where you're starting to like change in the locker room for gym, right? And so it's just like that really became apparent to me, like, oh my gosh, I knew I was taller than a lot of people in our grade at the time, but it also became apparent to me that I was also bigger. And like from that point going forward, I just remember in junior high, like dreading going to go clothes shopping. I remember going like every year, you know, before school, we go clothes shopping. And my poor mom was like trying so hard to like bring me clothes that I was super excited about. And I remember just ending like every session there, just crying in the fitting room because I couldn't fit in to what the cool kids were wearing. Like I didn't have any of the cool clothes. And it was at that time too, you guys, where like teens had like their own section. And then if you got to like the misses or the women's, like you were literally in like mom jeans back in the day. And so that is what I wore. I remember like comments being made to me. And, you know, as you're growing and as your self-esteem is starting to grow at that time, like those comments and those remarks, like they stick with you because you're just starting to kind of like find yourself, you're in that awkward stage. And so that was kind of like the beginning of when I really just, like I said, became uncomfortable in my skin. Flash forward to high school. I was on the golf team. And so every year you had to go in and get your yearly physical. And so I remember it was probably like my sophomore year. My doctor was like, "You're obese." Like I remember stepping on the scale and I remember him saying, "You're obese." And he didn't give me any, like, any direction as to how to get to a healthy weight. And so I just kind of remember being like, wow, like nobody had ever said those words to me. And so that really stuck. And I remember one of my cousins actually had asked me to stand up in her wedding. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to take matters into my own hands. And so I went about it the complete wrong way. But I did what I thought I knew how to do at the time to help myself. So I don't know if y'all remember VHS tapes, but my mom had Denise Austin VHS tapes from the 90s in our basement, sitting collecting dust. As Britt was saying before, like we get these things and we put them on the shelf and that's like the end of it. So I remember I would not eat breakfast. I would take like a handful of pretzels or crackers to school for lunch, maybe some carrots. I would eat a small dinner with my family, and then I would go downstairs right after, put a tape in, and do a workout. And I ended up losing like 10 pounds or something. And I remember I felt so good when my cousin's wedding rolled around. And then I remember going back in for my physical, and I was like, yes, like I lost 10 pounds. The doctor is going to be so proud of me. I walked in, stepped on that scale, and heard those dreaded words again. You're obese. You need to lose weight. And you guys, as a teenager, like I was crushed. I literally was so crushed, because here I thought that I had found this like solution, right? I thought, oh man, like I lost 10 pounds. He's going to be so proud of me. And that was kind of where I just kind of spiraled into this yo-yo effect of trying different things, different fads, different trends as they would come out. And I kind of just gave up after a while, you guys. Like I was so frustrated because everything that I tried, it would work maybe for, like a month or two. And then I would just get stuck right back in the same revolving cycle. And it is so exhausting to be at that point, you guys. Like it really does like suck part of your soul out. And it's like devastating when you're hearing these things too as a teenager and you have no guidance on how to fix those things. So like I said, I kind of just ended up in this yo-yo cycle. I got through college. I graduated with my nursing degree. I think I forgot to tell you guys, I'm a nurse and I'm a travel nurse right now. But before I became a travel nurse, I worked night shift for a few years, and I gained so much weight on night shift. I was the heaviest that I had ever been by the time 2015 rolled around. And one of my friends and I decided that we were going to start travel nursing together. And so she was huge into like exercising and clean eating. And so she kind of took me under her wing, and we would meal prep on the weekends, and then we would go to the gym together. And it was great, you guys. I lost like 15 pounds. And I was feeling so good. I had started gaining some confidence, and I really just felt like a brand new person. And that was all great until we ended up kind of having different priorities. And so we ended up separating from travel nursing together. And I did it like 1 or 2 assignments on my own, I think it was, and just kind of fell off the wagon again. And then my cousin Kristen, who you guys will hear from later, she is my saving grace. I can't thank her enough, literally, you guys. She literally changed my life when she asked me to join her for a program. So in 2017, she was travel nursing as well. And we kind of were playing this like tag along, like I'd be in a state and then she would end up in a state. And so we were like, why don't we just travel together? So we ended up in New York City together. And you know what, you guys, we were there during the summer of 2017, and we were there through 2018, like spring of 2018. And we're just like living our best lives. We had such a blast. And I remember her making these like workout programs for us. And so we would go into Central Park, we would do these workouts, and it was great, like all summer long. And I remember her also telling me that she was doing these other workouts on the side, and she showed me these little containers, and I was like, girl, you are crazy. Like, I was like, I would not be full if I ate out of those containers, which totally did not realize that those were going to be in my future. But, winter rolled around, and I fell off the wagon again. Like the last thing that I wanted to do after my shift in the city was get on a subway, ride it like an hour, a half hour home on this crowded subway, get off, go change into my gym gear, and get on a 20-minute ride to the gym. So I just kind of stopped working out between like, I don't know, probably fall, like October to December. And then she came to me towards the end of December and said, hey, remember those programs that I was doing in the summer? She's like, we have one starting this winter and I really want you to do it with me. Like, what do you say? And she's like, yes, you remember those containers? Like you're going to use them. I'm going to teach you how to use them. Like, it's going to be fine. You're not going to be hungry. Like you actually get more to eat than you think. And you guys, I was at a point where it was literally my last ditch effort. I was like, okay, you know what? Yes, I'm going to do this with you. I'm all in. If you say that this works, I trust you because we had such a great time this summer. I know that you know what you're doing and you're not going to lead me astray. And so you guys, I literally got my first kit like the day before we were going to start. And I remember though, like all weekend long we were prepping and I was so excited. And ever since that first program, you guys, my life changed. Like, I don't know how to say this without you personally experiencing it. Wow, I can't talk. But you guys, it literally was life-changing for me. I gained so much confidence. I learned so much about myself, things that I never knew that I had inside of me. Like, it doesn't just unleash a healthy body in you, it releases a healthy mindset. And just being around positive women and having these relationships, like, it's something that's near and dear to me. And so when I talk a mile a minute and I get super jazzed up about that, that is why. You guys, I literally think our community is like 1 in a million. They literally have changed my life and I'm such a better person for it. When my cousin first was telling me about the coaching opportunity of it, because I was a challenger for a while, I had no idea. I was like, I've been doing these workouts and using the products long enough. Like, yeah, I deserve a discount. Like, I'm going to sign up as a coach. And it wasn't until probably almost a year in that I saw my cousin Kristen on these calls, and she just seemed so happy all the time after she would get off of them. Like her heart was just so full. And I was like, what are these calls? Like, what is going on? Like, what are you doing in your room on those calls? And so she let me sit in on a couple. And you guys, I had actually referred a couple people to her to get started on their journey. And she was like, why don't you just do it? Like, you are doing the same thing that I'm doing. Why don't you just do it? And I was a pretty private person, you guys. I didn't have Instagram at the time. I only had Facebook, and I would only put some of my travel, experiences up there. And that was it. I never let anybody see the self-care journey that I was on. And so I was nervous. I was really afraid of what people would think. But you know what, you guys, the cool thing is, I think that sometimes when we hear the word coach, you automatically think like, that person has to be certified to do something, right? Like a doctor or, a counselor or something like that. But that's not true. Like, you can coach yourself or you can coach others. And basically, like, we're all in this learning and growing together. It's not a certification that you need. It's just sharing this gift and these tools that helped us get to this point with other people. So if you guys take anything away from mine, I would say that, don't let that word coach get in the way, because really you can coach yourself or you can choose to share it with others. And it's really a gift that we have to share with other people. So with that being said, I'm going to pass the mic over to my girl, Leah, who is going to talk to you about how she was in it to start saving some money at the time. She's in it for the discount too. So take it away, Leah.
I was so busy listening, I almost forgot to unmute. And thanks, girl. And I'm going to be talking about several, little snippets that have already been touched on, so I'll make those brief. But I'm the token mama of the group, and not a fur mama, was, but no longer. I actually have 2 adult kiddos. They both live in Arizona. And one of those kiddos is my first why. When I came into this business almost 5 years ago, if my baby girl asks me for something, I'm there. and I support her. She had met Britt at OTF. They were talking about some things. Britt introduced her to Shakeology and Beachbody On Demand. And Katie thought, I could make a business out of this, so I'm going to give it a go. And I'm sure Britt had that same conversation with her that she had with me. Who's your go-to? Who will join you no matter what? And Katie immediately knew it was me. So she said, I know you've been on your weight loss journey for decades, because her and I have the type of relationship where I talk to her about everything. And I too, just like Ashley, struggled with my weight. I remember probably 7th or 8th grade when mine started, and I tried everything. And when I say everything, your girl tried everything. Some things I'm not so proud of, but I tried them. And for decades, off and on, I was the queen of the quick fix, and they would work until they didn't. And then I often gained even more back. So my self-esteem and confidence was also on that roller coaster that my weight was on. So I put my body through hell. So she's my first why. And when she said, so we're going to sign you up as a coach, I was like, oh, no. I have no right of coaching anybody because I don't even know what I'm doing. And she said, well, Mom, you're just going to coach yourself. Why don't you just start? And then she threw out the magic thing. You'll save 25% on all your product if you sign up as just a discount coach. And I was all in. Why was I going to pay full price for something that she assured me I would like? And I thought, I'll give it a try. What do I have to lose? This company says it's so good. It's a bottom of the bag, 30-day, 100% money back guarantee if you don't like it. They were going to let me drink this whole bag and then give me my money back if I said, well, I just don't like it. And they still do that. So they started earning my faith and trust very early on with that guarantee. I have never returned a bag, although Katie invited me into the community, and I am very blessed with the fact that I have girlfriends in all walks of my life. If you read some of my posts, I talk about my chicas, my yayas, my squad, my tribe. I mean, I'm blessed and I know it. So I didn't need community. And Katie said, well, Britt's going to add you to her challenge group. I think you'll enjoy that. And I decided to join that challenge group just because, okay, I could use the accountability. So went in there and decided to start logging my workouts, logging my shakes. That would kind of help keep me accountable. And I realized all I had to do was what I love doing, was love on the other women, cheer them on, and talk from my heart to them if they were having a bad day. Well, it gradually started leading to where some other people were coming to me in my walks of life saying, what are you doing? You're doing something a little bit different. So I signed a couple people under me, and I still didn't think of myself as a coach because I don't have that certificate. I don't have any of that physiology. I have none of that. All I knew was to do me. And I had a foot surgery probably about 6 or 7 months after I joined, and completely backed out of the community. There, none of the workouts were for me. Why would I even try and do that? I've got this big old honking boot on my foot. So of course I'm not going to drink my Shakeology either. I don't need that. Lo and behold, the bags started piling up, and I still didn't quit. I didn't back out of that coach's discount. I don't know why, other than the fact that maybe it was that voice in my head telling me to hang on and still stay a coach under my daughter. And she then had backed out and had decided that wasn't for her. She went another route, but I stayed and I was under Britt and backed out. And about 4 or 5 months later, all of my weight I had lost had came back on, and then some, because I wasn't doing the meal plans. I wasn't drinking my dense nutrition. I wasn't moving my body, and needed to jump back in. Well, that sisterhood didn't look at me twice. They didn't wonder why I was coming back. As a matter of fact, their arms were open and they were there for me. And this like-minded community is like no other. I don't care how many girlfriends I have. None of them are like the sisters I have on this team. And I can't say I'm the oldest on the team, but I'm pretty darn close. I think Britt's mom may top me on that one, but I'm up there, and I could be mama to many of the girls on here, but not one gal on this team has ever treated me that way, ever. I'm a sister. I'm a teammate. I'm part of the tribe. So when I jumped back in, it was with both feet. And one day I was at the beach house, and it was a Monday, and on Inspire Beauty, Brittany always puts up there the invite for our events, for team calls, for book club, for anything that's going on, for the botathon we do on Black Friday instead of Black Friday shopping. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm not a coach, and it really isn't for me, but I'm just going to log in because I want to see what this thing is. And it was a different type of community, even more so. I started reading my personal development. I started doing a little bit more. So slowly I started creeping into that end. And about 6 months later, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And 2 gals on the team who I've never met face to face were going to get on an airplane. And they knew my support system. They knew my husband because I had talked about him. They knew my daughter would be out here. They knew my girlfriends. And they just, do you need me to come? And I, honest to God, believe they'd have bought that ticket if I said yes. And I had never met them. There's just something, you know? But flip that from the foot surgery I had to my double mastectomy I had. I moved every day. Eric made my shake for me every day. I got my dense nutrition in every day, no matter what, even if I only drank half of it because I didn't have my appetite. Country heat, good old autumn. I didn't do any of the upper body with country heat, but I moved and I danced and I stayed healthy mentally more than anything. I didn't have to have chemo or radiation. I was blessed. It was caught early. We made the decision to do the double mastectomy, but I wouldn't change that decision for the world. But my health was in a better place mentally. And I had a support system around me like no other. So my why gradually shifted from helping my baby girl to kind of being there to answer questions for some other women to then starting my own challenge group. And let's jump to COVID. March 16th of last year, almost a year ago, shelter in place in California was announced. And Eric and I were sleeping in separate bedrooms. My marriage was falling apart. And I was at the beach house again when that was announced. And all I could think as I was sitting on the beach looking at it for what I thought was only going to be a week or two, because this wasn't a real thing, it was going to go away, was, you know what, I'm going to move my body every day because I need to kind of stay sane. I was kind of active in a challenge group, but just kind of with checking in, not really much more than that. And I told myself I needed to do it for my sanity. More than that, I told myself I needed to move my body and get out of the house so I wouldn't kill my husband, because we were going to be stuck in a home because he was going to be working from home full time. And I didn't know how I was going to survive. And I poured myself into my personal development, but privately, because I had completely stepped out of our community. I let the mean girl voices in my head take over because I didn't need this community. I had been hired at our local country radio station. I was a weekend on-air jock. I was at concerts almost every night of the week. I stayed out of the house. I didn't want to be here. And I didn't know how I was going to survive because that huge part of my heart was gone. There were no concerts. There were no shows at the winery. I was lucky if I even got to go to the station. There was nothing. And I moved my body every day. I told myself I was going to do it every day as shelter in place. Little did I know, that almost 300 and something days later, I'm still moving my body every day. But I got this phone call from my girl, Kristen. And it came the end of July last year when Team Cup was coming. And she said, we miss you. The team misses you. There's something missing. And we'd love to have you on our team. I didn't say no. I didn't say yes. But she got me thinking. And I knew at that moment, that one thing that I hadn't been able to pour into during all of those months of shelter in place was this community right here that I tell y'all there's nothing like. These women are amazing. And this team and my personal development and me coaching me saved my marriage. And Eric and I are stronger than we've ever been before. And we're going to be celebrating our 29th wedding anniversary this June. And if it weren't for my girls here, and if it weren't for that one phone call, you never know what that person's going through on the other end of the phone when you reach out to them. So for those of you who are coaches here, don't second guess when you reach out to somebody because you have no idea what you're doing to them. So my final why is it saved my marriage. And I'm not looking back. I have regained my diamond again. And it's full steam ahead. If you take nothing out of this, there's nothing wrong with being a discount coach. But don't let that be the only thing you do. If somebody comes to you and asks a question, answer it. You don't know what they're going through. And you may be able to offer them that same challenge pack or that same program that you're doing, and it may change everything in their life. We all have a story to tell. We all have, and it's just as important. With that being said, I'm going to pass it over to one of my partners in crime who I would never know if I hadn't been on this team. She's my sister from another mister, and she's from outside in Nashville. She's a group fitness instructor for 10 plus years. She's a fellow Miranda Lambert lover, so you know we're both on fire, you know. This is girl Sarah. Take it, girl.
Thank you, darling. I cannot tell y'all how much I love this chick. I love all the women in this community, but Leah just, I don't know, that chick just has my heart and has from like day one of body groups. I was like, you just click with people, and I have clicked with her. She calls me on my crap, and see, I'm keeping it G-rated, Brittany, I promised. Calls me on my crap, keeps me in line. But yeah, so I'm Sarah Ziegler. I'm the resident turnip green of the group, I guess you could say, if you can't tell from my accent. And the chickens that are behind me, which is why I've kept my camera off. My house is being remodeled, so I'm living in a war zone right now. But I have been in group fitness for 10 plus years. I started off, I played college softball. So workouts have just been a part of my life since I was 4 when I started playing, and I worked out because I had to, like my coaches told me I had to, and that was it. So started group fitness, started with Zumba, went into dance fitness because, you know, tequila makes your clothes fall off, I guess. Also makes you want to do a little dancing. So I've always had fun with that. I moved actually into teaching Beachbody Live. I was a Beachbody Live turbo kick instructor for a little over a year when dang COVID came along. And I, like Leah, have battled some personal issues in my marriage, and my girls in the gym were there to carry me through a lot of that. And then when COVID hit, I no longer had those girls to lift me up, and I had to learn how to lean into this community in other ways. And these ladies right here have gotten me through the loss of probably, other than my mother and my husband, the closest person I have ever had to me, and that was my Nana back in April. And I literally would have never made it through that without these ladies. But so for my group fitness people, I know that sometimes it seems like, well, if you're already doing group fitness, what the crap does Beachbody bring to you? Beachbody for me, if you've never been a group fitness instructor where you're the one constantly having to motivate, having to instruct, having to come up with routines, having to put things together to challenge people, It's overwhelming. It's like teaching, which is why I love teaching. I'm also a teacher full-time, and an academic supervisor in our district, small rural Tennessee. We play a lot of roles. So being a group fitness instructor, I was constantly the one having to push and support other people, which I truly love. But I needed somebody to be behind me. I needed that Sean T in the back yelling at me. And I'm not going to say his name, but we all know who I'm talking about. Starts with an A. He does the work. If you've never done it, sweet baby Jesus. It's a lot, but it's fantastic. But I needed that person sometimes in my ear, pushing me and instructing me and giving me that kick in the pants. So I joined Beachbody, and I'll tell you, I joined Beachbody. A lot of people looking in were kind of like, why do you need this? You teach classes 4 days a week. And on 2 of those days, I had 2 classes. So people weren't really sure why I decided to jump in on Beachbody, but you can't always judge a book by its cover. Yes, I loved being in the gym. I was in the gym most days of the week, maybe took a day off, but I was constantly in the gym. What they didn't see is I had everything that I could push to other people and nothing that I could put into myself. So I needed something to make me feel good about me again. And also sometimes it's nice just to take a back seat and hear someone else tell you what to do and tell you when you're slacking and tell you when you're doing an awesome job. So I jumped into Beachbody because one of the girls I had played college softball with had just popped out her, I don't know, 27th baby girl or something. Like every time I turned, she was like popping them out like the Pez dispensers. That's what it was like, just constantly. And yet she had this banging body with these abs you can wash your clothes on. And I'm sitting here going, how is this even possible? I was putting on weight. I knew my girls at the gym could see it, but I was just unhappy with me. I could look at you, tell you how fly you are, tell you how awesome you are, and then look at myself in the mirror. And guys, I cried. I started taking mirrors out of my house. That's how low I got. And so a lot of times you're not seeing what that other person is dealing with on the inside. So I joined Beachbody through my fellow softball lover. And I just reached out to her one day and said, I've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Tell me what you're doing. She put me in a bod group. I met these amazing chicks on here, have clicked with them since day one, joined strictly as a challenger, did not join as a coach. I would go into the gym to teach my classes. Before class, I would do my workouts. Some of my girls who are still on my team today would come in and say, hey, I'll do those with you. Like, I'll jump in there with you. Even if they didn't do the whole thing, they would just come and see what I was doing. I would have my earbuds in, lifting weights out in the gym while other group fitness classes were going on. So that was my me time. That was the time for someone else to take the steering wheel and tell me what I needed to do to feel good about myself. Fast forward a little bit, like I said, to COVID, and my group fitness classes stopped. I didn't have that community around me anymore to support me and push me when I needed it and say, hey, you're doing Beachbody and you're doing so good. Look at you coming in before class, after class, on the weekends and knocking out these programs. I was literally by myself. So thank goodness for Zoom. I don't know what we did prior to Zoom, but thank goodness, because now every single morning I get to see amazing women pushing play, bettering themselves. I have been able to continue my group fitness classes because of Zoom, continue my Beachbody Live classes, continue my dance fitness, because sometimes, y'all, I just got to shake my booty. It just feels good. And if you're not excited about Sean T's program, I don't know if we can be friends. I'll just be honest with you, because anything Sean T puts out, I'm on board with. I'm there for it. So I will say, though, on the coaching side, I know a lot of people will probably talk to you and say, well, I'm a runner, or I do CrossFit, or, which those people scare me, by the way. They scream way too much. I'm not a screamer. I don't scream. I get excited and I might raise my voice, but I don't scream. Or, oh, I do yoga all the time. That's great. Guys, the people that are on my team are the ones that came to me and said, well, I'm not a group fitness instructor, so Beachbody wouldn't work for me. People wouldn't want to join my team. I have one group fitness instructor on my team. One. None of the rest of them are group fitness instructors. However, they needed that community. They saw that benefit in sisterhood. They saw that benefit of having that extra push, even outside of their group fitness classes that a lot of them are still doing. Beachbody was just an amazing supplement. And it's so funny because on Team Kerosene, because, had to name it after my girl, Miranda Lambert. On Team Kerosene, when we talk about supplements, we talk about Energize, which Lord knows what we did before we all got hooked on that crack. But we talk about recovery, we talk about Energize, we talk about Shakeology. On Team Kerosene, we include our Team Kerosene, our sisterhood, as part of our supplement, because we can't be successful without that, and we have all realized it. And I'll be honest with you guys, this sisterhood, you have to lean into it. And if you are truly leaning into it, I don't see that there's a way that you can't fail. So when you're looking at this, you look at this the same way you do as group fitness classes. I would never not show up to a group fitness class that I pay for. I will never not push play for Beachbody that I push play for. And I'm never going to let this sisterhood down. If I tell them I'm going to be there, I'm going to be on Zoom, I'm going to be sweating beside you, I'm going to do it. That's that extra level of accountability that you get as a coach, whether you're a group fitness instructor or you're a Beachbody coach. It comes from both ways. So that's kind of my spiel from over here. With that being said, I love that Leah spoke on this because I'm going to touch on this too. This same chick that reached out to Leah and said, "Hey, I miss you." A couple weeks ago, my husband and I made a move from our house. We sold it in less than 24 hours. We moved in about 3 weeks. I literally got on the message page with these girls crying and said, "I'm sitting in my bedroom. I don't know what to do. My stuff is all around me and I'm lost." This chick immediately sent me a message and said, "You tell me where I'm coming to. I'm getting on a plane right now. I'll come help you pack. I'll come help you do whatever it is you need me to do. We can talk, you can cry, whatever you need, girl. I'll get on a plane and I'm there for you." And so with that being said, I'm going to send it over to that fabulous girl, Miss Kristen.
Oh, you ladies, you are so amazing. All of you. I love all of your stories, and some of it I've never heard before. So it's been such a treat to hear from you guys tonight. Thank you for that, Sarah. Yeah, it was actually funny. I messaged Sarah and I was like, "Did I miss something? What's going on?" So we had a nice little conversation that morning. But you guys, my name is Kristen. For those of you that don't know me, I have been a part of this amazing team, Inspire Beauty, for almost 4 years now. And I'm going to kind of take you back a little bit and kind of like go through it quickly as to how I came to be here and my love for fitness. But I've always been somebody that loves to be healthy and move my body. And I loved to go to the gym and stuff. But I always found that I was like fumbling. I didn't quite know what to do, but I'd be like, "Well, I know what this machine does. I'll quick do something, or I'll hop on the treadmill and do whatever." I was kind of one of those people, but I've always been super active. I was in volleyball. I played volleyball with my girl, Nicolette, on tonight, played softball, played a lot of sports. So being active was always kind of a part of my life. And as I got older and moved, into nursing and things like that, it kind of, I wasn't as active. And so I remember when I graduated nursing school, I was with my boyfriend in the apartment and I saw this commercial for Turbo Jam from Shailene Johnson come on. And I was like, "Oh my God, like I need something. I'm going to do that." So of course I bought it. Unfortunately, I am that person that was excited for it to come and I pushed play on it immediately. And I did have really good results for a short time. Like I did it maybe one time. I don't think I did it a second time. And then it sat there and collected dust. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I should do that again." Fast forward, I then married that boyfriend and we moved to a different city. And we were at a point where we were ready, like we wanted to be healthy together instead of, I was trying to do all the things during the week, right? Like stay on track with my nutrition. And I don't think I was working out at the time, but going to the Y maybe every now and then. And then on the weekends, he would be like, "Let's get Chinese, let's get pizza, let's get tacos." And I was like, "Yeah." And then Monday would come and I was like, "What did I just do?" So we got Insanity and we did it together as a couple and it was amazing. We did really great. But at that time, our marriage was just not stable, and it ended up really not being stable, and we got divorced. Where Ashley, now I can send this back to you. You were my saving grace. She became a travel nurse, and I was at the point where I was divorced and in a town where, yes, I had friends and I had a good job, but I didn't feel like I needed to stay there. And I saw her traveling and just loving it. And I was like, I can do that. Like, what am I doing here? And so that's what I did. I quit my job, put all my crap in storage, and off I went. And it was the biggest soul journey that I have ever been on in my life, the start of it. At that time, I was like going to the gym, and I think I had like the Bob Harper, if you guys remember him from The Biggest Loser, I had like his app, I think it was called The Burn or something. I would go to my Anytime Fitness and work out, log my calories in my Fitness Pal, and nothing was happening, you guys. Like, it was just not, the pounds were not coming off that I gained from my divorce. And a lot of inside weight, a lot of weight on my heart that I needed to get rid of. On my travel journeys, I went to Sunnyvale, California. And, I probably walked past Leah and never knew it at one point. I thankfully walked past Brittany and had a conversation with her at an Orange Theory Fitness. And I had her card, or we exchanged numbers. And that at that time, that was kind of the end of it. Continued on my travels. And I finally got to a point where I was heavily grieving my divorce. It was a very low point. And I was in Maine at the time on a travel assignment. And I think I saw a commercial or something, but it was about love yourself first. And it was right around Valentine's Day. And I don't know what it was, but something finally clicked. And I was like, I am worthy. I can be loved. I can be healthy. I can succeed. And I'm going to do this. And I went and bought a pair of Nikes. And a friend of mine that was a Beachbody coach, I reached out to her and I got 21 Day Fix on the DVDs at that time. And I was so excited yet again to get another Beachbody program because nothing else was working, but I had done Turbo Jam, I had done Insanity, and I had gotten results. So I went back to that. So I got 21 Day Fix. I did it 2 times in a row. I lost like 5 to 7 pounds and I was feeling on top of the world. I was so confident. But I didn't have a community. That coach, she never reached out to me again. There was no group for me to join. I just kind of fell to the wayside. And so then I let my journey fall to the wayside. I didn't know what to do. I knew I had like the containers and stuff. So I kind of, remembered what to do, but I didn't do the things because I had nobody else there. I knew that I had goals, but I had no one to share them with. So it's easier to fail when you don't share your goals with anybody, right? Because nobody knows your goals. So they don't know that you're failing, only you do. And so I kept failing and I kept failing. Ashley and I get to New York City together. And yes, we did those fun workouts. I'd like pull crap from like Shaun T or something. And we'd go in Central Park and I'd be like, do these like monkey bars. And we're going to do these tricep dips and run around the track, like, I don't know, we made up some stuff. And it was so fun. And then Brittany comes into my inbox and I was like, hey, like we had met a year ago, whatever. And we start chatting and I was like, no, I'm not ready. And she checked back in with me and I was like, okay, well, maybe, I had to switch coaches because I still had technically that other person. And so she's like, well, you can wait, until your 6 months is up, or you can like find a different email and switch me. And so I found my other email, which all stemmed from what I found in Maine, Love Yourself First. So that became my email, which is now my team name. And I joined her and she told me right away, like Annie said, coaches get the best results. So I said, okay, all in. At that time though, you guys, I just wanted the workouts and I just wanted the nutrition because I had like the motivation and the discipline to do the workouts and push play. Like that is not a problem for me, thankfully. But I didn't really need the community. I was like, yeah, sure. Like throw me into your group. I'm not really going to join it though. And I remember getting on that bodathon, that Black Friday in New York City in my sweltering apartment because I was on like a 4-story walk up and doing 2 hours of a workout. And I believe Natalie was on and obviously Brittany. I don't remember who else was there, but I do remember those two. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And then 80 Day Obsession came. And of course, FOMO. I did not want to miss out, you guys. And so I bought all in, and that's how I talked Ashley to going all in, and we did it together. And that is when I first like really latched onto the community, and we had so much fun in that group. I didn't know anybody from Adam, but we had so much fun commenting on each other's posts and just loving on each other and cheering each other on. It was so much fun. And that is probably where like that true transition of knowing that I needed community happened. And then it happened in the coaching environment. So that was kind of like my own personal journey where I needed to coach myself, like a lot of the ladies have talked about tonight, just coaching yourself on this journey. But I saw Leah. Leah was one of the first ones that hit diamond on our team. And I kind of got to thinking, I was like, well, if she can do this, why can't I? Like I know that the community is awesome. I know these workouts work. I know the nutrition works. I've done it. Working. That through all